Alright, I'm gonna do a quick breakdown of my trading day today, so maybe you guys can take something out of it, and yeah, you'll see what I did good, what I did bad, how I could have executed better, and also you'll see if you start to watch my videos that it starts to get really repetitive. I watch for the same things day in and day out. So without further ado, let's get into the pre-market context. First, so you can see yesterday we broke out of this balance range midday off of some very strong buying, right? We broke out in the middle of the day. I personally did not catch any of this, but this developed some new structure for me that I had to keep an eye on. So looking at this market profile, first of all, this was the balance range. You could see this was 3 days. I merged it into one. This was that strong breakout gap that we had up. And you could see the first thing is there's a poor high that got left from yesterday. So you could see at this high, there's 2 letters instead of 1. It didn't end on a single tail or a single letter, which indicates that it's a poor high. If there's more than 1 letter at a high a day or low a day, it usually gets revisited just like this. This is also a poor low. And especially in an uptrend, if you have poor structure to the upside, it's very significant because it usually gets revisited at some point in the near future. And you could see this day formed several different distribution patterns here, but this main one was this 4-4. So that was the context, and I said strong market above 2550s. In my opinion, the bulls have control above this 2550 level. If you want me to get into that, it's pretty simple. It's because there's single prints here, and the midpoint of this move up is around here. So in my opinion, it's above this balance range, above the 50s. The bulls have control, but the main area, or my key level for today was this 5543 to 37s, which is a level that formed from the tape yesterday. So if you look at this is a screenshot of the tape. You'll see that around 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, there was an outlier in the data, meaning look at all this volume and buying that was done at this 4-3, which initiated this expansion move up. Is very unusual. It's a cluster of buying, and for me, I see that as buyers, and you want to see if that level can hold moving forward. And the cherry on top was this level not only developed here, it bounced at the close, bounced again at around 5 p.m. Eastern, bounced again. You know, this level has bounced price over and over again. If I pull up you can see it formed here. Look how many times this level bounce, bounce. So this is my key level for today. So that's where we get into scenario number 1. That's how I developed this key level. Keeps getting supported. So scenario number 1 here was my key level for today. It was, I meant to say this 4-5-4-4-3, which is the one I showed you there. As long as we can get supported at or above, I want to look for ways to play long, targeting 5-3 and then the 6-1s, which is that high I showed you. That's poor. So as long as you can remain a bit above, I was interested in looking for ways to play long. Like I said, you have to shift attention to poor structure to the upside because there's a high probability of getting repaired when we're in an uptrend. So this is what it looks like on a chart. You can see the high up here and then this 4-3 level. And then you can see yesterday's massive move up. So that was my key level for the day. So getting into that, all right, you can see here as the market opens up. Let me scroll up. All right. Here, I saw buying at 8:43 a.m. at pre-market at that level of interest that I just mentioned, 8:43. In real time, market looked like this. This was 8:43. Market was bouncing off of this. I was watching the tape. I saw buying at this low, but I did not take the market long. I saw some bids getting filled. Said I want to try longs here, but it's pre-market, so I'm holding off. You can see we bounce there, and we also bounce price right here on 9:15. You can see there was massive absorption going on at that 4-3 level. So I'm going to pull up the footprint, and I could show you a different visual of what the tape looked like. It was very strong buying going on at the 4-3 level that I just mentioned a million different times. I'm just going to pull it up. But I said there's also ES was at the overnight low and VIX was at the overnight low, which is a market divergence because VIX should be at or near the overnight high. So there were several contexts leaning that ES could potentially bounce right from the 4 threes. And right now I'm just gonna take a screenshot of what the tape looked like in real time, where I showed you all that red. The rest is selling into 4-3. To for me to assume that there's buying right there. So you can see it here. This was pre-market action right here. This was 4-3 right here. Look at this. You'll see all this selling come into this low. The time's not here, but this is around 9 a.m. Eastern to 9:30 before the market opened, and the market starts bouncing off of that. So moving into what happened intraday, that was all overnight. Intraday, there was super strong buying volume at the 50s right out the open, which is usually a bullish sign for at least like a short-term move up. So I'll screenshot the footprint again. You can see here, look at this. In real time, anyone who's watching the tape would have seen how strong the buying was at the open. So that was a new key level that developed for me as well. And I never get a pullback entry because off the open, I said, here, I want to see a pullback into 4-3 off the open to play long into the 5-3, which is the 8:30 M news high, and then the 6-1s, which I showed you. And then you could see market opens up here, takes out this high, and we never get the pullback. So that was a shame. That would have been a really nice entry, and it happened before market open. But here I said super strong buying right at the opening gate. It's usually a good indication. And I was like, okay, let's see if we could pull back into these 50s and hold, where I could play on like a buyer's defense type move into that 6-1s. Again, never pulls back. And then I start to see some weakness develop at the highs. And market ends up pulling back. So what I see here is, like I said, scenario number 1. Remember, I wanted to see a pullback into it, or if we could get supported at or above. What I mean by that is if buyers can step in intraday above, bids could step in. I want to look for ways to play long with these buyers. So this first context develops here. You could see here by the volume here, there's a very large buyer at this 5-4-50s. I'll screenshot the footprint, what it looked like there as well, just for a clear visual. This was at 5-4-50s. It's easier in real time to spot, but I mean, 500 lots on 500 total volume is significant. It was strong buying. And we get this first pullback into this, which holds. So my favorite types of entries to take on trending days is either some sort of move up where buyers step in and then they hold price, or I prefer to play long on something like this where we break the low, not much lower, and then we reclaim back above, and I like taking that long. Those are the two best ways I like entering for, a follow through move. And this was the first one, right? So the buyers held, but I didn't enter here even though this looked good. And the reason why I didn't enter here is because recently, at least this month, what the market's been doing is it will look really good and then run my stop before working out. So I'm trying to, in the back of my head, enter where I would normally stop out. So although this looked good, I skipped this. I would normally take this like last month is what it worked out. Looked really good. But here, the second entry, the ladder entry I showed, so I want to see these lows get swept, reclaim back above off holding this buyer to play the market long. I want to see the lows get taken out. I want to see those stops get ran and then reclaim back above. Right here, you can see it ran without me. And I was like, okay, maybe I just missed that move up. I'm cool. No trades so far at that point. Like I said, I want to see that market break the low. And you'll see we start pulling back from the highs and showing some weakness here. Super strong buying above the high. Moves down. I was like, okay, still valid. And I wanted to see it break the low. I keep saying this is an if-then scenario. You can see right here exactly what happened. People who long this here, stops under there, ran their stops, recleaned back above, still held this buyer here, and the market looks like this. That was enough confirmation for me to try some longs targeting these 6-1s, which was this high. Now, the reason why the high was poor is I showed you the TPO, but the real reason why a higher poor low gets developed is because there's a lot of time or volume spent at this high. You can see the market consolidated here for an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes at this high, which developed this double print at the high of day. So that was my target. I was looking for a continuation. Get into the actual trade here. You can see that's what it looked like. Here I was risking 2 points on this, and I was targeting 6-1s. So I was risking 2 points to make 6.25. So I was risking 2 to make 6.25. You can see this is the risk to reward in dollars, but like I said, risking 2 to make 6.25. And then this one immediately flopped. Like, the move up was not met with follow through, and then it immediately took me out here. Market looked like this. So that was a really good entry. In my opinion, it didn't work out. This was my thesis. I like the 5-4 buyers hell. I like how it ran the stops. Really nice risk to reward. And it ended up flopping. And then I said may have mistimed. Now, I still thought this buying could develop. I just thought I mistimed that move. So you could see here, this is when I entered that first one. Stopped me out here. And what I want you to see here is, if you look at this low, right, this is where my stop was. Look at all this selling that starts pouring in under this low. And market keeps breaking little micro lows, and aggressive selling's hitting the bid, but the market's moving down. So I see that as, okay, the selling is drying up. Maybe the sellers aren't as aggressive anymore. Maybe there's a passive buyer looking to leverage into a position. I also saw passive buyers just start stepping into the market here. Excuse me, let me just turn that off. This trading view is super annoying. Passive buyers getting filled. And this is the same type of entry. We came back down, came up, right? Absorption here, reclaimed back inside the range. Again, ran so many stops. I saw buying right there as well. So I said I gotta take a stab there, and you could see right after I entered, look how strong this buying was. Super aggressive buying. I was pretty confident in this one. I was like, okay, look, we keep moving up. Works out immediately. Buying starts pouring into the market. I was like, okay, I probably timed this one well. Market looks like this. And then this one also just immediately gets sold into, and then runs my stop right there. So I said we need to break above this. I needed to see the market get above this area here. And ideally, once it got above, it had room up into the 6-1s, but then it just flopped. And so no dice here, and then it ended up like stop running me to the tick, failing. Ultimately, chopping around and being very inconvenient if you're trying to buy a pullback, right? Because like you try to buy a high one pullback type of entry here, stop out, try and stab one there, stop out. Good thing I have a rule where I can't take more than a certain amount of trades in a day, or else I could easily see how someone could have stabbed one there, try it again, fail, try it again, and at that point, you're just toast and your account's gone. So yeah, those are the two entries. Again, risk to reward. I was risking 2 points on this one to make, it was 6-ish, a little bit over 6, and this one was risking 2.25 to make 6.25, 6.5. And those are the two trades. Honestly, these are one of those trades where it's just like I really wouldn't do anything differently. Obviously, like I said, in hindsight, I wish that I caught this move up, because this was the most headache free move, right? This straight buying at the 4-3 level right up into that news wick, and then this one just didn't get any follow through. So it happens. Just quick breakdown.